is the Schmo with the pro, with the former multi-time Bellator champion, the number 5 ranked lightweight UFC fighter, the Iron Man, Michael Chandler in the flesh, Sanford MMA. How we doing?
We're doing great, man. Just got done working out. Excited to be back in camp. Very excited to be back here.
Yeah, a lot of big news was dropped last night. Some news you may have known for some time. Not official yet, or is it official? UFC 274 against number 7, Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, it's not exactly official. It's obviously a fight that a lot of people got very excited about. It's a fight that is being talked about big time. It's a fight that I've talked about wanting. It's a fight that Tony has talked about wanting. We've been talking about it now for months. It is not officially official, but the goal is to fight him. Yeah, May 7th in Phoenix, hopefully.
So what does that mean? No pen to paper? Contract's been seen by your eyes, Michael Chandler?
No pen to paper, but you have my word. I would like to fight Tony Ferguson. Tony, I'd like to fight you May 7th in Phoenix. So that's the goal. That's why I'm here in Florida. That's why I'm back here with the team, coaches, training partners, getting after it, living the dream.
No, obviously, man, we got to get the victory here. Tony Ferguson needs to get the victory here. But what would getting the victory over Tony Ferguson mean for you, Mr. Iron Michael Chandler?
Man, I tell you what, it's an interesting division. You know, obviously, I am just now a little bit over, a year and a couple months being signed with the organization. A year and 1 month after my first fight in the UFC. So I am more the newcomer, but I'm out there in the top 5. A lot of movement going on. RDA just beat Moicano. You had Islam just beat Bobby Green. Beneil is now hurt. You got Conor coming back. You got Gaethje and Oliveira fighting for the title. So there's a lot of stuff happening. I think me and Tony Ferguson makes a lot of sense. I think I go out there and I run through them and continue to stake my claim as one of the best guys in the world, as well as one of the guys who's kind of right there in the title mix. Do I necessarily think I deserve a title shot after beating Tony in the next fight? It's up to the UFC to decide, but I can guarantee you this, that everybody wants to see me fight Charles Oliveira again or Justin Gaethje again. Both of those are great fights. He hadn't lost a round in Charles Oliveira hadn't lost a round in a couple of years until I 10-8'd him in the first round. Obviously got caught, and then obviously me and Justin Gaethje was fight of the year. So a lot of people are going to be chomping at the bit to see me fight either of those guys. May the best man win. The wild card is Conor coming back. We'll see.
Yeah, well, let's get right back to this fight, though. Winner gets Dana White privilege between you and Tony Ferguson, yeah?
No, I already have Dana White privilege. Nobody else can have Dana White privilege. It is solely mine. So it is kind of awesome. The birthplace, the birth moment of the Dana White privilege line was Houston back in May when Tony called me out there at the press conference. It was a genius line. Kudos to you, Tony. It was absolutely brilliant. But no, Dana White privilege is mine.
It's not on the line, but
it's not on the line.
Let's assume that you guys dance, and it is the co-main event. The main event is Charles Oliveira and it's Justin Gaethje, man. Guys that you fought. Your last 2 recent opponents, though, man. Yep. But from an X's and O's standpoint, though, who has the advantage going into that fight?
Man, it's tough. I tell you, there's one person you never bet against, and that's Justin Gaethje. He's got the heart of a champion, heart of a lion, obviously, as you saw, not just in my fight, but his last 12 fights combined. But the poise and the composure and the confidence that Charles Oliveira has shown over the last couple fights, beating me for the title and then defending against Dustin Poirier, a perennial top guy, I think he's gaining confidence with every single fight. I think he's continue to get better and better as a complete mixed martial artist. He's not just a grappler anymore. So I think I have to give the edge to Charles, honestly. I think, as I said, you never bet against Justin Gaethje. Don't put any money on this fight because I don't know which way it's going to go. But if I was a betting man, I'd think Charles Oliveira might be able to get it done.
Since Islam did not fight RDA, Dana White came out and said that he wants to see Islam fight Beneil Dariush, who had to pull out for injury. Is that the fight that you think needs to happen as well? And Islam wasn't deserving of getting a title shot right away after beating Bobby Green.
It's a tough one, man. You know, people talk about win streaks. Obviously, the man is on a win streak. He's looked extremely dominant. We have a common opponent. He beat Dan Hooker in the first round, just like I did. So that was the first time that he really stepped into the lightweight division, inside the top 10, and staked his claim as one of the guys who will be competing for the title in the future. However, beating Bobby Green shouldn't get you a title shot. His fight before Dan Hooker was another guy outside the top 10. He's fought his win streak is consistent. It consisted of everybody outside of the top 10 aside from Dan Hooker. So I do think him and Beneil Dariush need to fight. I think it's a great matchup. I think their strong suits complement each other very well. They're both grapplers. But I think I don't know. I think the UFC is the best promotion on the planet. They know what they're doing. They know how to put together great fights. That's a tough one to call, but I think Islam needs to continue to cut his teeth inside the top of the lightweight division.
Well, timing's everything in the fight business, and it kind of leaves the door open for Conor McGregor. If him returning from injury, people are talking about him potentially getting a title fight based off of all of that. How would you feel if Conor McGregor got a title fight coming off of the losses?
It's you can. This is the fight game, but even more than that is the fight business. If it makes good business, it makes good sense. In a lot of ways, Conor's still the biggest name to ever hit the sport of mixed martial arts. Definitely of all time as of right now, and maybe of all time in the future. We may never see another Conor again. So I think the sport is better when Conor McGregor is in it. The lightweight division is better when Conor McGregor is in it. Luckily, our names are similar in similar areas. I would like that fight down the line. Obviously, he has expressed interest in that fight. But I think Conor comes back, wants the title shot, and even what Dana said, it's not always up to the UFC in these scenarios. If the champion wants to fight Conor, whether it be Gaethje or whether it be Oliveira, how are you going to say no to that? So we'll see. There's the Diaz fight out there. There's a fight with myself. There's so many. There's now people are talking about him and Masvidal fighting. So there's big names for him to fight. There's big fights for Conor if he comes back and doesn't fight for the title. So time will tell. All I know is May 7th, Tony Ferguson's getting a boat whooping.
That's right, and your name is certainly in the hat for the Conor McGregor sweepstakes.
Yeah, I think so. He and I have talked back and forth on social media. He has expressed interest in fighting me. Do I think I'm the right fight for him to come back off an injury and off of a couple losses? I think that's not a great matchup for him. So I understand that not being his road to come back. Obviously, when there's title implications on the line, that's the number one choice. And then obviously you got, a bunch of different guys. That's the fight that everybody wants, of course. I mean, people talk about the money. They want the money. They want the money fight. They want the bread painting. And I just want the big stakes, the big exposure, the big lights, the big opportunity. When you get into the sport of mixed martial arts as a young fighter, you want big names, big opportunities, and big venues under bright lights. And fighting Conor under the UFC lights on pay-per-view would be be a dream come true towards this second half of my career. And we'll see if it happens.
The man you knocked out in your UFC debut, Dan Hooker, he's going down to featherweight, UFC London card next week against Arnold Allen. How do you think Dan Hooker does in the featherweight division?
I love it, man. I think Dan Hooker is a fighter's fighter. There's a ton of respect for Dan Hooker. He was the only guy that said yes. The UFC asked numerous people inside the top 5, inside the top 10 to fight me on my UFC debut. Every single one of them turned it down except for Dan Hooker. So he's a perennial top guy. I think him going down to 145 size is going to be a great advantage. He's long, he's rangy, he is tough as nails. But Arnold Allen is obviously a tough guy in and of itself as well. I think Dan does well at 145, and I think I'd love to see him make a run for that title.
A man who has not been submitted. You're going up against the specialist and Tony Ferguson, El Kakui. Can we get a final message for the Iron Mike Chandler fans out there worldwide?
I'm just excited. Ever since I came into the UFC a little bit over a year ago, I said I wasn't going to be here for a long time. I was going to be here for a good time. And I didn't come here to tiptoe around the top 10. You look at my body of work, you look at who I fought, Dan Hooker, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje. Now we're going to fight Tony Ferguson, and it's just going to continue to be hard matchups, big stakes, big fights, big opportunities. I'm going to go out there, bite down on my mouthpiece, and get after it. So buy that pay-per-view because we're going to have a good time.
And that's why he's a fan favorite. You're the pro. I'm the Schmo. Sanford MMA. We're out.